Have you ever felt drained by a family member who constantly complains and seeks attention? Or maybe you've been a victim of a relative's financial exploitation. Or perhaps you found yourself caught in the crossfire of a family member's endless drama. These are just a few examples of toxic family dynamics that can negatively impact our lives. As we grow older, it becomes increasingly important to surround ourselves with positive influences and to distance ourselves from those who bring negativity and stress. In this video, we'll delve into 7 common types of toxic relatives and why it's essential to set boundaries. From the energy-draining narcissist to the manipulative control freak, we'll explore the behaviors that can make family relationships toxic. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of how to identify these toxic patterns, protect your mental and emotional well-being, and cultivate healthier relationships with your family. You'll learn practical tips on how to set boundaries, communicate effectively, and maintain your peace of mind. Don't let toxic family members ruin your happiness. Watch this video to discover how to take control of your relationships and live a more fulfilling life. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video. You can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. 1. The energy vampire. The energy vampire is a relative who has an uncanny ability to sap the life force from everyone around them, leaving a trail of emotional exhaustion in their wake. Their presence in your life can feel like an endless cycle of draining interactions that never seem to end. These individuals often thrive on negativity, constantly focusing on what's wrong in their lives while ignoring any positive aspects. Whether it's complaining about their job, their relationships, or their health, they are always in a state of crisis or discontent. Every conversation seems to revolve around their latest problem or complaint, and no matter how much support or advice you offer, it feels like it's never enough. They may demand your time and attention, expecting you to drop everything to listen to their issues, but never truly offer the same consideration in return. Their need for emotional validation can be overwhelming, and while you're there for them in their moments of distress, you often find yourself feeling unappreciated and emotionally depleted afterward. These relatives are masters at drawing you in with their turmoil, yet when it's your turn to share your struggles or experiences, they either dismiss them or show little genuine concern. What's most exhausting is their constant cycle of drama. The energy vampire rarely seeks resolution for their problems. Instead, they appear to thrive in the chaos and dysfunction that surrounds them. Their complaints often become repetitive, and no matter how much time you spend trying to help, it never seems to make a difference. Their unresolved issues may become a constant weight on your shoulders, and you start to feel like you're stuck in an emotional loop that you can't escape. Over time, interactions with this type of relative can leave you feeling emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, and physically fatigued. The stress of constantly trying to support them without receiving any reciprocation can take a toll on your well-being, causing you to feel empty or even resentful. The energy vampire is not only exhausting to be around, but also incredibly difficult to avoid. They often have a way of weaving themselves into the fabric of your life, demanding more and more from you without ever offering anything meaningful in return. You might begin to dread their calls or visits, knowing that you'll be required to offer emotional labor without any consideration for your own needs. As a result, you can start to feel isolated or alienated, as though your own emotional needs are always secondary to theirs. It's a relationship that feels one-sided, with you giving endlessly while they take without a second thought. Eventually, you might begin to question your self-worth, wondering if your constant emotional availability is being taken for granted. The longer you stay in this toxic dynamic, the more you begin to realize just how much of your emotional energy has been siphoned away, leaving you feeling exhausted, frustrated, and, in some cases, even resentful. For many, the hardest part of dealing with an energy vampire is the guilt that often accompanies the realization that they need to set boundaries. There may be a sense of obligation or the fear of being labeled as unsupportive or unloving, but the reality is that continuing to give without receiving anything in return can only lead to burnout. Finding the strength to create emotional boundaries and protect your oral health is essential in dealing with an energy vampire, as without this, their draining presence can slowly diminish your sense of peace and well-being. 2. The financial leech. Imagine someone you love dearly, someone who shares your blood, your history, and your memories, yet their relationship with you has become one of constant financial dependence. They come to you, not as a source of emotional connection or shared love, but as a bank account they can tap into at will. They view you as their ATM, someone who exists solely to meet their financial needs, no matter how often or how large those needs may be. The requests are relentless and unyielding, each one more demanding than the last. At first, it might seem like a simple favor, a small loan to cover an unexpected expense or a gift to help them through a rough patch. But these seemingly innocent gestures quickly spiral into something much darker. What makes this situation even more complicated is the emotional manipulation that often accompanies their requests. They know exactly how to push your buttons, to play on your compassion and guilt. They make you feel as though you are the only person in their life who can rescue them, and if you don't, they'll fall into a hole they can never climb out of. It's a constant tug-of-war on your heartstrings, a battle between your desire to help and the creeping realization that you're being used, that your kindness is being exploited. They'll guilt you into giving, spinning stories of hardship, misfortune, and despair, making you feel that if you say no, you're the villain, not them. They're often skillful in their manipulation, painting themselves as victims of circumstances beyond their control, as though the entire world is against them, and you are the only one who can save them from ruin. They know how to turn on the charm, to make their plea sound so urgent, so necessary, that you feel you cannot say no without being heartless. And when you do say no when you set a boundary, the emotional fallout is immediate. You're met with anger, accusations of selfishness, or the silent treatment, which only serves to deepen your sense of guilt. They may even enlist others in the family, turning them against you, and making you feel isolated, as though the whole world believes you should help, and you're the only one standing in the way. The requests don't just stop, they increase. What once were small loans or gifts transform into demands for larger amounts, for more significant sacrifices. They begin to see you not as a person, but as a means to an end. They take your generosity for granted, never offering thanks, never even acknowledging the toll it takes on you. There's no consideration for your financial struggles, no awareness of your own needs, and certainly no willingness to give back. They simply expect that you will always be there, that you will always provide, and that you will never say no, because they have come to view your love and your kindness as their entitlement. The weight of their dependence grows heavier with every request, every time you give and give, only to feel emptier and emptier. The emotional exhaustion is overwhelming, as is the guilt that they've convinced you to carry. You begin to feel trapped in a cycle of giving. Every time you help, it feels like you're sinking further into their web, unable to break free. They don't see the toll it's taking on your mental and emotional health, the anxiety that creeps in when you hear the phone ring or see their name on the screen. They don't see how their requests make you feel small, unimportant, and insignificant, as though your struggles and needs don't matter at all. And even when you've reached your breaking point, even when you've set firm boundaries, the financial leech doesn't respect them. They continue to push, to find new ways to manipulate, to guilt you into helping. Their requests become more insistent and more demanding, and you begin to wonder if they truly see you as family anymore, or if you've become nothing more than a tool, a resource to be exploited. It's a painful realization, one that cuts deep, because no one wants to believe that someone they love and care about could treat them this way. But the truth is undeniable. The emotional cost of being used in this way is too high, and the damage it does to your well-being is real. In the end, it's about self-preservation. You can't continue to pour from an empty cup, no matter how much love you have for someone. To protect your peace, your mental health, and your financial security, you must learn to recognize the signs of this emotional manipulation and set boundaries that honor your own needs. It may feel harsh, even cruel, but it's necessary for your survival. Because the truth is, when you continue to give and give without receiving, you're not helping anyone. You're only enabling a cycle of dependency that keeps both you and the person you care about stuck in a place where neither of you can truly thrive. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 3. The gossip monger. The gossip monger is a relative who seems to derive an unsettling amount of satisfaction from stirring the pot, particularly when it comes to the lives of others. With a keen eye for detail, they are always on the lookout for any tidbits of information, whether true, exaggerated, or completely fabricated, that they can turn into the latest family scandal. They thrive on the drama, seeking out every possible opportunity to weave a story, sometimes at the expense of someone else's reputation or peace of mind. And when it's your name that's being whispered behind closed doors, it cuts deeper than words could ever explain. Their gossip isn't just harmless chatter. It's a poison that seeps into the hearts of everyone involved. The gossip monger doesn't stop with one conversation. Once a rumor is out there, it spreads like wildfire, weaving through the family like an invisible thread that binds everyone together in suspicion, doubt, and discomfort. They may take something simple, a misunderstanding or a quiet moment between family members, and twist it into something sinister, something that fuels resentment and divides the very people who should be standing side by side. The once comfortable family dinners, full of laughter and stories, turn into silent exchanges, where no one dares speak freely for fear of being the next target of the gossip mill. What makes the gossip monger even more damaging is their ability to act so innocently, as if they're just relaying information they've heard, with no malicious intent. But behind that facade is a calculated agenda. To be at the center of attention, to have the power to control what people think and how they feel about each other. They thrive in the chaos they create, feeding off the tension in the air, watching with a sense of satisfaction as people grow increasingly uneasy with one another. To them, it's not about the truth, but about the drama, the energy it brings, the feeling of control it gives them. The hurt caused by the gossip monger isn't always immediate, but it's insidious. Over time, the wounds they create fester, slowly eating away at the fabric of relationships. When trust is broken, it's incredibly hard to rebuild, and the longer the gossip continues, the more fragile those bonds become. People start questioning each other, doubting their own words, afraid that they might be the next subject of ridicule. The once tight-knit family now feels like a ticking time bomb, each member walking on eggshells, afraid to say anything that might be twisted or misinterpreted. What's worse is the lasting emotional toll it takes. The gossip monger may not see it, but their actions leave scars that last long after the words have faded away. They may not understand the weight of their words, the hurt they cause when they casually mention someone's struggles or secrets, or when they take a small issue and turn it into a massive ordeal. But for the person on the receiving end, it's a different story. The trust they once had is shattered, their sense of security eroded, and the love they once felt in the family feels hollow and distant. As time goes on, the damage becomes more evident, but it's also more difficult to undo. The relationships that once felt unbreakable begin to fray, strained by the constant web of lies and half-truths that have been woven. And what the gossip monger fails to see is that, in the end, they're the ones who are left with nothing but a trail of broken trust in their wake, alienated from those they once held close, isolated in their need for drama, unable to see how their words have torn apart the very connections that should have been their source of strength. The emotional weight of their actions is profound. It leaves people feeling betrayed, misunderstood, and unsupported. Feelings that are hard to shake once they've settled into the heart. The gossip monger may think they're just sharing stories or having harmless fun, but what they don't realize is that they're playing with fire. The trust, love, and peace that once defined the family can be irreparably damaged by the need to stir the pot, and the silence that follows the chaos can be deafening. The cost of their words is much higher than they'll ever know. 4. The control freak. Having a relative who constantly feels the need to micromanage your life can be one of the most emotionally exhausting experiences. It feels as though you are never truly in control of your own decisions, never given the space to make choices that align with your values or desires. This relative seems to believe that their way is the only way, and they impose their unsolicited advice and opinions on you without a second thought. What they may see as a concern, you begin to perceive as an intrusion, a constant, unrelenting force that slowly chips away at your sense of self. Their well-meaning gestures, like offering advice or guiding you through life's hurdles, quickly transform into something suffocating. It becomes clear that no matter what you do, no matter how small the decision may seem, they believe their way is the better way. Whether it's your career, your relationships, your finances, or even something as personal as what you wear or how you decorate your home, every choice you make is met with unwelcome commentary. It doesn't matter if you're perfectly content with your choices. They feel entitled to weigh in as if you can't possibly know what's best for you without their guidance. The worst part of this dynamic is the underlying message that you're not capable. Every decision you make, no matter how small or significant, is scrutinized and often met with criticism. It's as if they don't trust you to think for yourself, to make your own mistakes, or to learn from your experiences. Their advice, however well-intentioned, feels more like a demand, a command rather than a suggestion. Their constant interference doesn't empower you. It diminishes you. As they push their expectations onto you, a sense of suffocation slowly builds inside. At first, you may try to tolerate it, hoping that they'll eventually see how capable you are. You try to explain your decisions, to show them that you don't need their approval, but it never seems to be enough. You begin to feel like you're living your life for them, as though their opinions hold more weight than your dreams and desires. Their voices in your head grow louder, drowning out your inner voice, until you start questioning your judgment, wondering if you do know what's best for you. Over time, the emotional toll becomes unbearable. You start to feel resentment creeping in. What once may have been small irritations now feel like a constant weight on your chest, squeezing the life out of your confidence. The more they try to control you, the more you feel like you're suffocating. It's not just about the advice anymore. It's about the lack of faith they have in you. It's about the way they dismiss your autonomy as if you're incapable of making decisions without their intervention. And all the while, they remain blind to the damage they are causing. They believe they are helping, but in reality, they're only making things harder for you. Eventually, this dynamic takes its toll on the relationship. What should be a space for love, understanding, and support becomes a battlefield of wills. You grow resentful, frustrated, and weary. You feel like you're being crushed under the weight of someone else's expectations. No matter how hard you try to assert yourself, they continue to impose their will on you. And in the process, the love and connection you once shared slowly begin to erode. You can't help but feel that you're not being seen for who you truly are. You're only seen as an extension of their desires and plans for you. The truth is, this kind of control does nothing but create distance. The more they try to control your every move, the more you pull away. You start to question not only your decisions but also the kind of person they think you are. Do they see you as capable, as someone worthy of trust and respect? Or do they see you as a project, someone in need of constant fixing? It's a painful realization that, in their desire to protect and guide you, they have created a wall between you, one built from criticism, suffocation, and the feeling that you're never enough. In the end, what you need is not more advice, not more control, but the space to grow on your terms. You need to make mistakes, learn from them, and succeed or fail without the weight of someone else's expectations. You need the freedom to define your path, to listen to your heart, and to trust your instincts. The control freak may believe they are helping, but all they're doing is stealing your ability to live your own life. And as much as you love them, you can't continue to live under their thumb. You need to breathe, to grow, and to find your way. And that means letting go of their need to control you. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 5. The toxic parent. A toxic parent is often the most deeply ingrained and painful type of relative, leaving lasting scars that shape your entire sense of self. This kind of parent is not just a source of frustration or occasional misunderstanding. They are a source of emotional harm that can carry into every facet of your life. The wounds they inflict, especially if they were abusive or neglectful during your childhood, can feel impossible to heal. These aren't just bruises on the surface, but deep emotional scars that can affect your thoughts, actions, and relationships as an adult. As a child, you may have felt unsafe, unloved, or unimportant in their presence, constantly walking on eggshells to avoid their anger, disappointment, or disregard. It may have seemed as though no matter how much you tried to please them, it was never enough. Their love and affection may have been conditional, doled out only when you acted in ways they deemed acceptable, leaving you unsure of your value and self-worth. When love feels earned rather than unconditional, it can leave you with a pervasive sense of insecurity and a deep yearning for approval that never truly satisfies. Even as an adult, the toxic patterns may not change. They may become more insidious, disguised behind a facade of concern or care. A toxic parent might still use gaslighting, making you question your memories, feelings, and reality. They may deny the pain they've caused or twist your past, making you believe that you're overreacting or misremembering things. This constant distortion of truth can leave you trapped in a web of confusion, never quite sure of your own emotions or perceptions. It erodes your trust in yourself and can even make you doubt the very core of who you are. Emotional abuse is another powerful tool in their arsenal. They might belittle you, dismiss your achievements, or minimize your feelings, making you feel small and unimportant. This behavior isn't just about criticism. It's about stripping you of your sense of self. When a parent is supposed to be your protector and supporter, but instead they tear you down, it's incredibly difficult to build a healthy foundation of self-worth. You might find yourself constantly seeking validation, but never receiving it. It feels as though no matter what you do, you're never enough to earn their approval or love. Toxic parents often engage in manipulation, weaving a narrative where their needs are always more important than yours. They might guilt trip you into doing things for them, using your love or sense of duty to keep you tethered to them, even when it's at the expense of your well-being. There's no space for your feelings or needs to be acknowledged because they are always at the center of the story. You might feel as if you are being used, as though your purpose is to serve them, while your own life and desires are pushed aside. Perhaps the most painful part of this dynamic is how it affects your ability to trust and form healthy relationships. If a parent can be so cruel, so neglectful, so manipulative, then how can you trust others to be different? The fear of being hurt again can make it nearly impossible to open up to the people who truly care about you. You may struggle with setting boundaries, feeling guilty for asserting your own needs, because you've been taught that your needs don't matter or that love requires sacrifice at all costs. The emotional burden of a toxic parent is not something that can be easily shaken off. It can follow you into adulthood, affecting your mental health, your relationships, and your sense of purpose. The trauma of being raised by someone who should have loved and nurtured you, but instead emotionally crippled you, can create a cycle of pain that feels endless. However, recognizing the toxicity for what it is, the lies, the manipulation, the hurt, is the first step toward healing. You must understand that you are not responsible for their actions, no matter how much they may try to make you believe otherwise. You do not have to carry their pain, their mistakes, or their dysfunction. Healing comes from the difficult but powerful process of detaching from their hold, setting firm boundaries, and sometimes even distancing yourself from them entirely. It's not easy. The road to healing is long and fraught with difficult emotions, but it is necessary for your peace and well-being. The love you sought as a child can never be truly given by someone toxic, no matter how much you wish it could be. The journey of reclaiming your identity, your worth, and your happiness begins by letting go of the belief that you must earn someone else's love. You are worthy of love simply because you exist. You are deserving of respect, kindness, and care, not because of what you give, but because of who you are. Breaking free from a toxic parent is a painful, yet empowering act of self-preservation. It's a choice to finally stop carrying the weight of their toxicity and instead create a life where you can heal, grow, and thrive. It may take time, and it may take therapy, support, or even years of rebuilding your sense of self, but with each step forward, you reclaim a piece of the life and love you were always meant to have. And in that, you will find the peace you've longed for. 6. The narcissist. This relative is a master of self-centeredness, a person so wrapped up in their world that they can't see beyond their reflection. Every conversation revolves around them, their feelings, their successes, and their desires. They have an uncanny ability to make everything about themselves, leaving you feeling as though you barely exist in their eyes, despite your best efforts to be seen and heard. It's as if your emotions and needs are mere background noise to their constant craving for attention and validation. The narcissist's world is a stage, and they are the sole performers, demanding applause from everyone around them while offering nothing in return. The emotional toll of being around a narcissistic relative can be exhausting and demoralizing. They thrive on control, using manipulation and subtle tactics to exploit your kindness, your time, and your love. They will take credit for your hard-earned achievements, basking in the praise and recognition that you rightfully deserve. It's as though your success is just another tool for them to inflate their ego. When they see you growing, they feel threatened, not because they care about you, but because they fear being overshadowed. So, they'll twist the narrative to make it seem as though they were the ones who made it all possible, leaving you feeling small, insignificant, and drained. Your accomplishments, your struggles, and your pain are met with indifference, or worse, dismissal. They'll belittle your feelings, suggesting that your problems are trivial or that you're just being overly sensitive. In their eyes, only their experiences matter, and anything that doesn't serve their interests is either ignored or devalued. When you try to speak up, to share your heart, it's as if you're speaking into a void. They may nod, but their thoughts are already elsewhere, planning their next move, basking in their glory, or figuring out how to benefit from your emotional energy. The most heartbreaking part of dealing with a narcissistic relative is how they can make you feel like you're not enough. No matter how much love or care you give, it's never truly seen, never truly appreciated. You're left feeling like an invisible presence in their life, always giving, always bending over backward to meet their needs, while they take and take without ever offering anything in return. It's an endless cycle of sacrifice with little to no recognition or reciprocity. You begin to question your worth, wondering why you keep giving to someone who will never value you the way you deserve to be valued. Over time, the narcissist's impact on your emotional well-being becomes undeniable. They'll push your boundaries, violate your personal space, and make you feel guilty for even attempting to put yourself first. They'll gaslight you, twisting your words, rewriting history, making you doubt your reality. You begin to feel like you're living in a constant state of confusion, unsure of what's real and what's been distorted to suit their needs. And even when you begin to take steps back to protect yourself from their emotional abuse, they'll play the victim, turning the situation around and making you feel like you're the one in the wrong. The love you once hoped to receive from them turns into something toxic, something that leaves you emotionally bruised and tired. You begin to realize that no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you sacrifice, the narcissist will never be able to give you the emotional support, understanding, or connection that you crave. They'll continue to drain you, like a leech feeding off your emotional energy, until you feel hollow, disconnected, and broken. The relationship feels like a constant battle, one where you're giving everything and getting nothing in return. Yet, in the narcissist's mind, they'll always be right. They'll always be the one who deserves to be the center of attention, the one who deserves the credit, the praise, the love. They'll never see how much pain they've caused, how much they've hurt you. And even if they do, they'll twist it, turning the blame back onto you, and leaving you questioning your own emotions and decisions. The cycle is endless, and as much as you long for things to be different, you realize that a narcissistic relative will never be capable of meeting your emotional needs. You can give them all the love in the world, but it will never be enough to fill the emptiness they carry within themselves. And as much as you try, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you are still watching this video and finding these lessons useful, please comment number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Thank you for your valuable time. 7. The drama queen/king. This type of relative has a unique ability to create chaos and disharmony wherever they go, and they seem to thrive on the confusion and emotional turmoil they stir up. It's as if their very presence is a catalyst for conflict, whether it's starting arguments over something trivial, spreading hurtful rumors, or using manipulative tactics to control the dynamics within the family. They have a knack for making everything about them, and they'll stop at nothing to ensure that they remain the center of attention, even if it means hurting others in the process. Their behavior can be emotionally exhausting and draining, leaving everyone around them feeling on edge, unsure of what might happen next. In some cases, they may play the victim, making others feel guilty for not giving them enough attention or sympathy. In other instances, they might adopt a more passive-aggressive approach, subtly undermining those around them and causing tension without ever being direct. They are masters of creating rifts, pitting family members against each other, and ensuring that no one feels truly at ease. The pain they cause isn't always obvious, but it slowly chips away at the trust and the love that once existed in the family. Over time, it becomes clear that these types of relationships are not healthy or sustainable. The constant emotional manipulation leaves scars that are hard to heal. The sense of security that a family should provide begins to crumble, and the very essence of what it means to be a family, support, love, and understanding, becomes clouded by the drama they inject into every situation. It's like living in a never-ending storm, where you can never find peace because the emotional toll is too high. You might find yourself second-guessing every interaction, wondering if their words are genuine or just another attempt to manipulate you. It becomes exhausting to navigate, and the toll it takes on your mental and emotional health is profound. In these situations, it is crucial to recognize the importance of self-preservation. You have every right to prioritize your well-being, and sometimes that means setting boundaries with relatives who bring nothing but toxicity into your life. The act of setting boundaries isn't about rejecting them. It's about protecting yourself from their harmful influence. It may involve stepping back, limiting contact, or making it clear that certain behaviors will not be tolerated. While it might feel difficult, especially if there is guilt or fear of offending someone, it is an act of self-love and respect. You do not have to tolerate their emotional manipulation, and you don't have to be a victim of their need for control. By maintaining a healthy distance, you are not abandoning them. You are simply taking the necessary steps to reclaim your peace of mind. When you set boundaries, you are giving yourself the gift of emotional freedom. You deserve to be in an environment where you feel safe, loved, and respected. You deserve to be surrounded by people who genuinely care for you and who nourish your soul rather than drain it. You have the power to choose who you spend your time with, and it's crucial to recognize that your time, energy, and emotional health are valuable. You are allowed to choose relationships that lift you, and that bring joy, love, and support into your life. It's okay to walk away from those who bring nothing but turmoil. It's necessary. When you let go of these toxic relationships, you make space for those who truly care about you, for those who offer you unconditional love and acceptance. Your mental and emotional health deserves to be prioritized, and by doing so, you will create a life that is peaceful, fulfilling, and filled with joy. Remember, family does not have to be defined by blood alone. Family can be anyone who treats you with kindness, respect, and love. You have the right to build your own family of choice, one that is based on mutual support and positive energy. And most importantly, never forget that you deserve to live a life where peace, happiness, and emotional well-being are the foundation. You have every right to pursue a life free from drama and manipulation, and it begins with setting boundaries and prioritizing relationships that truly bring you joy. So, what did you think of today's video? Did you recognize any of these toxic family dynamics in your own life? It's important to remember that you deserve peace and happiness, and that sometimes it's necessary to distance yourself from toxic relationships, even if they're with family. By understanding the different types of toxic relatives and the behaviors that characterize them, you can better equip yourself to protect your mental and emotional well-being. Remember, it's okay to set boundaries and prioritize your needs. In the comments below, share one thing you've learned from this video that you'll implement in your own life. Whether it's setting a firmer boundary, communicating more assertively, or simply limiting your contact with a toxic relative, share your insights and inspire others. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more helpful content on self-improvement, personal growth, and healthy relationships. Thank you for watching, and remember, you're not alone. By taking action and making positive changes, you can create a happier and more fulfilling life.